Welcome everyone as we head into this is like massive knitting season where people are knitting and crocheting and sewing for their holiday gift giving. And so thanks for taking time out of what is probably not yet frantic knitting to come and chat with Jennifer Dassau about her new book, Knitting Short Rows. And so, welcome, Jennifer. Also, your first visit to the party line.
It is. Thanks very much, and thanks for having me, Beth. It's great to get to talk to people about the book and about short rows.
Yeah, I think short rows, and I talked to you about this a little bit yesterday, is
Hmm.
before I did a video on, basic wrap and turn short rows on my YouTube channel, it was probably the one I got the most emails about from people saying, how in the world do you do this? And I think, for a lot of people, conceptually, it just doesn't make any sense. But when you actually start doing it, it's like, oh, it's one of those light bulb things. But I think people are a little, intimidated by it and unnecessarily so. So I was very excited when I got the list of the books that were coming out from Interweave F&W, and this was on the advanced list, and I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. So, and I have to say, as somebody who has used short rows on a lot of different kinds of projects, I was really surprised at how little I knew about short rows when I started reading the book. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that." So I'm very excited that you're here, and the book is beautiful, and it's normally just the reference part of the book would have been enough for me, but the fact that you've got really beautiful designs highlighting how to use short rows was just a little extra knitting icing on the cake. So thanks for that.
Right. Well, thank you. And I think you're right about short rows. People are becoming more and more interested. There are a lot of knitters right now. Knitting is, I think, as popular as ever, and people want to explore techniques, and short rows are it's such a cool techniques. There are different ways to do them. People are interested, so good. I hope people get the book and find it to be helpful in exploring short rows.
Yeah, and honestly, nothing makes a sweater fit better than
Right.
using short row. Well, for a woman, for short rows, which can also be used to accommodate the size of your chest, and especially for women who are busty, sweaters that aren't designed to accommodate that is they tend to hang from the part of you that sticks the farthest out, and for most of us women that would be your breasts, and and that's typically what I've used short rows for, is to give me a better fitting sweaters. And
Right.
I'm knitting a sweater for my son right now, and the sleeves are actually picked up from the shoulders, and short rows are used to shape the cap of the sleeve, and which was the first time I had ever used that technique there. I mean, so it's really amazing all the places that you can utilize short rows to create shape, but I think you take it a step further and even create direction. And I think that's what makes it, for people who like technique because it's a fun thing to do and it's cool, when you see how you can use it to create a different direction, it's really really interesting. So yeah, so this is so we got people who are excited to hear about short rows. Like Kate says, she hasn't tried them yet. She loves the pattern in this book, and it will get her to try the technique, which I think is kind of the point, right?
Great. It absolutely is the technique, and I think you're right. Everything you're saying, and especially short rows are great for making garments. I love knitting garments, and if you are a person who likes to knit seamlessly sometimes, um, as opposed to, say, making a sweater in pieces and sewing it together, short rows are just an invaluable way to be able to do that. Like with the sleeve caps, as you say, I love top-down short row sleeve caps for doing sleeves. It's one of my favorite ways to use the technique.
Yeah, so in just like the shape of the sweater on the front, I think
Hmm.
that for a lot of, when you look at it, and if you haven't done short rows before, you would look at this, think, okay, if you start at the bottom, you cast on fewer stitches, and then you work your way up, and then you go back and you pick up all the stitches. And then, it's really amazing that when you're working with short rows, how you can kind of create that shape without having kind of those like weird jogs and like
Right.
I call them pixelated edges, because to me it looks like, pixelated pictures on your computer that you blew up too far in the old days. That just gives my age away a little bit, but yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So how did you get interested in designing with short rows?
In designing with short rows, I had almost from as soon as I became a decent knitter and started exploring designing my own things, short rows right away was one of the things, techniques that interested me because from the beginning I really liked seamless one piece knitting. I didn't want to make a bunch of things and sew them together and bind off stitches and pick up stitches. I thought, well, why am I binding things off and then picking things up? There must be ways to make a continuous piece, particularly with garments, but with other things too, like shawls. So right away, I was interested in short rows, and I learned wrap and turn first. I think a lot of people in the U.S. are familiar with wrap and turn.
Yes.
Um, I think it's possibly the most common. I hear wrap and turn spoken of a lot when I talk to people. But then there are a lot of other methods too, and I present 5 of them, the 5 main methods, in my book.
Yeah, and
So I talk about
that
wrap and.
was totally new to me, was
Mhm.
how to use the different techniques to create a short row, because I had
Mhm.
only ever done wrap and turn.
Right.
So and then so we'll get a little tour of the book, and um
Okay.
we'll see how the different techniques are used. And this
Mhm.
this is a sample of projects from the book, so people kind of get an idea of what they can expect to find in it. And Susan says she loves the sculptural quality that short rows can achieve, which,
Oh, I do too. I do too.
yeah, and I think that's what the real beauty of them is, how you can turn something that would be otherwise flat into something dimensional, which
Right.
is a pretty cool trick. So
I agree 100%.
yeah, so let's take a look at some of the projects. And um, the first one of the first projects in the book is actually this hat, where just from the angle they've shot it, you can't really tell, but it's got ear flaps on it,
Right. Mhm.
and that
It
it
has very.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's yeah. It's the crown is knit sideways with short rows.
That's what.
Um, like little so it's little spirals you cast on provisionally, spiral around, and then attach the 2 ends together. And then you do pick up around the for the brim and work. There's little small subtle ear flaps done with short rows.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. The idea of knitting a hat from the crown down using short rows to create the design. And you can see from the front that because of the self-striping yarn, you can see where it's kind of curving off to the side. And I mean, that's really, I mean, it's wild.
Right.
It's not something I would ever have thought of. It's really, It's really, really beautiful. So, all right. So now you were talking about using it for shawls, and this was so interesting to me. I've only ever seen like this kind of a swirly design done with, I've seen it done in crochet, which is so much easier to manipulate direction of the fabric in because you can pretty much do it from wherever you want. But I had not seen this done like this in knitting. And what kind of like, is this a wrap and turn, or is this a different technique?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jennifer. Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Jennifer,
there is a lot of interference, like a male voice.
Yeah,
it's hard to.
I hear it too, and I'm trying to figure out where it was coming from. I thought it was. Let me see if there's anything running on my computer.
I can't really hear. So I don't know if anyone can hear me, because I can't really hear anything, but okay, so maybe I'll just talk about the picture of this angel wings shawl, this sort of brownish orange shawl that is pictured up on the screen, and that is worked in garter stitch, also with the wrap and turn method. And in this one, there is no need to pick up the wraps, because one of the great things about the wrap and turn method is that in garter stitch, the wrap often just can disappear into the fabric and become part of it. And so that makes the method even easier.
Okay.
And I think it looks... Hello?
Hey, it's Beth. I don't think it's me.
Okay.
I don't think it's me, Jennifer. I think it's because I just went in and dialed in on the phone.
Did you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Annika. It was somebody. Oh, that was it. No.
I know they're not here because I'm in the house alone at my place.
Yeah, I thought maybe I was picking up somebody else's call was coming through my computer, but I think it was somebody in the room, which I just muted, and that should take care of the problem.
Okay.
Donna, can you hear? Yeah, we're getting somebody's call is coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's being picked up on the phone, and I have no idea what that is. But let's power through. Okay, so okay. Yeah, and actually, we are picking up somebody's call, and since I've dialed out, I think it's probably your phone. So
my phone?
Yeah, I think it's your phone. Jennifer, hang up your phone and dial back in.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm here alone, and I sort of don't live near anyone, but something could be coming in from somewhere. So I'm going to hang up and call back. All right, I'm doing that now.
All right, thanks. All right, everybody. let's see what happens when she hangs up and see if it disappears. No, it doesn't. Oh, that's annoying. I think we're picking up somebody's CB radio or something. Yeah, I still hear it too. Yeah, Kate, I can see if you're muted, but hang on, because I'm just going to mute everybody, and then I'll unmute Jennifer. Is it gone now? That is funny. Yeah, it's gone. So let me unmute everybody and see what happens. It's still gone, right? I don't hear it.
I don't hear anything either. Just typing.
They're typing. All right, I think it's gone. I think whatever
Great.
it was, I think it was a CB, and I think it just drove far enough away that it wasn't interfering. So, okay. All right. Now, yeah. So now, there we go. Okay. So the and Rebecca asked me to mute her. You are muted, Rebecca. You're good. So so we're all good. All right. So we're back on this beautiful shawl with the twisty, curvy, really pretty eyelet trim in it. And tell us about this one.
Okay, so I was saying this is knit and garter stitch with the wrap and turn method, and because it's garter stitch, you do not have to pick up the wraps because they disappear right into the fabric and just meld right in. So that's always nice. I love wrap and turn for garter stitch, especially, this is sock yarn, so especially with a smaller gauge and thinner yarn, I think it just works beautifully and looks great in the end result.
Yeah, this is really, really sharp, and this is the kind of design that really shows off that self-striping yarn, and it's so pretty. It's really pretty.
This is String Theory. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is Caper Sock from String Theory hand-dyed yarn. So it has that beautiful hand-dyed sort of variegation, very subtle, which looks great in garter stitch.
Yeah, really, really pretty. And I can hear those guys again. But so, and now we were talking about how short rows can actually create shape as like, and this is